So one thing I'm trying to get my head around is some people have said today that, you know, there will be less secrecy.
Yeah.
I can't believe there will be less secrecy because it's the America's Cup. There's always secrecy, right?
Yeah, I think that probably won't change. It's really, I think, what changes drastically, and then I think each person within a team, depending what is your role, whether it's media, whether it's a raising sponsor, whether you are on the technical side, a boat builder or a CFD designer, I think what changes is that in 3 months before the end of the next cup, and already now, you will be already working on the next cycle.
Right,
So all of that downtime where you don't really know what's going to happen, basically now it will kind of goes down to zero. And maybe the public, certain things will not know, but technically, because now we're in a partnership, all of the decision, the major one, will be decided within all of the teams. So you will know if there's an idea of changing something technical that is very important, because that's a decision that will need to be taken among every team. So in that sense, there's less secrecy, but what then happens within the team, from team to team, is the same as before.
Yeah. And how valuable would it be? How good would it be to be able to know? I know you wouldn't do it. I know the rules don't let it, but I'm just interested, right? Okay, cool. If somebody from another team accidentally left their laptop and accidentally left it open, how tempting would it be to just, I'll just have a...
Very tempting. I think that probably depends who you ask. I mean, you shouldn't be doing it, but there's...
just imagine it's fine.
I can tell you an example. You know, back in the days when the cup was paper-based, and I was a kid already, you know, in and around this circus. You know, you had paper shredder, you made sure that, you know, nothing went down to waste, you didn't want the drawing to leave the base
because people would go through
there has been example of that, yes.
How tiring does it get? When I was in Barcelona and I'd see somebody from one of the other teams and I was working for the broadcasters and I'd say, how are you doing? Fine. How was breakfast? Fine. And no one would say anything about anything. No. It was just, you do not know what the other people might use, you know? It seemed really tiring.
This is incredible because it's very true. The reason why you want to make sure that no one in the team speaks is that you think you're not saying anything valuable, but actually everything is.
Everything is valuable. Everything is a value to someone else.
Because you may, from a small comment about how someone tiring is, you start to, you know, retrofit information, think, okay, so, but what this tells me about the gearing on their pedestal or their bicycle, and so but usually what happens is that in the world behind the scene of the cup, every team has few guys that are kind of, in a way, the chatty one that, but you kind of are aware of it. So then there is also the idea of misplanting information.
Oh, is it really?
Is this guy telling me this thing because you think it's true? But maybe you're friends. Maybe you sit on another program with him, you know? And you've been knowing him for 15 years.
So you would say something that's not true. We found out if you take the rudder and you put it round and you put it back on.
I think in a more subtle way.
No one's gonna
it does happen. Yes, definitely, 100%. And then other times there's a whole lot of secrecy around things that don't matter. This is also true. Like there is an attention to things that they don't make any difference. And particularly around the time of the cup, a lot of the things are done, you know. It's not like I'm gonna tell you, if 1 week before launch, you're not gonna do it, but if 1 week before launching the new foil, you're gonna say to someone in another team how it is, they're not gonna have the time to replicate it, you know.
It's done.
Years and months of machining and work. So.
Is that part of it fun?
Yes, very fun. I think so. My personal point of view, yes.
Yeah, because I always found the espionage and the secrecy, and even going back into the old cups where we had the skirts and you drop wow. I think that's really good fun, you know?
I think if you are someone curious within a cup campaign in any role or any age range, when you get the recon, you know, particularly, you know, in campaigns where there's a new boat. I mean, there's so much excitement that goes around, you know, trying to figure out, you know, the picture came out, a team posted something, or
zoom,
trying to figure out what it is, whether it's relevant or not. And it's dangerous because sometimes the team, can focus too much on looking at others and instead of keep on doing what you know what to do. And I think it's very important that each team has, I speak of course of Luna Rossa, but in a team it's important to have few key guys that kind of look over the type of material that is shared and really kind of keep the focus on what is important instead of, snowballing or, weeks and weeks and weeks speculating on a picture that came back from recon. That is going to be irrelevant for your performance.
But this is the time, because as you say, there's no point 1 week, 2 week, a month before the competition. This is the time when people are going to be looking and,
But there's definitely a change in this edition because we're not building a new boat.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's a big thing. And at the same time, the cap has changed. So a lot of the technology, a lot of the performance is basically hidden either within how systems are made at a mechanical level inside the boat or on
the computer.
Correct. So unfortunately or fortunately, a lot of it is invisible. And so what you do is you try to look how a team sails and how they do maneuver, but there's more speculation. You're gonna need to shift your attention and you're gonna need to make sure that who's looking at the boat has the ability to understand from the behavior of the boat what is that they could have been doing inside the boat. Complicated, but fun.
Yeah, like you say, it sounds fun to me. It sounds fun to me. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go on. Yeah. You can start your spying now. Yeah. You can start your recon at this moment. All right, cheers, buddy. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.